Okay, so for those watching the replay, this is our team time. Um, okay, so I'm just gonna start off here doing a little bit of celebrating. I'm gonna share my screen and then get right to celebrating. So, okay, as our little team, we sold in December 12,041 and 60 cents and added one new person. So Nicola, she is our new person. So welcome, Nicola. Excited to have you here with us. And I did mute everyone. So if you want to talk, you'd have to unmute yourself. So you just, the slash that's through that microphone, you would just have to click on. So, but as far as sales, that is an 85% increase from last year. So, which is pretty great. So we almost doubled what we did last year. So that means we're growing and that's good. We're pushing ourselves, which is good. And then we kept steady with adding people to our team. We added one new person last December as well. So that is just a little highlight there. And then Pampered Chef, this is again kind of a newer concept that they've put out there, but I wanted to talk a little bit about goals. And so one of the goals that they talk about is for every 4 parties you have to add one more to your team. And part of it's just a numbers game. It's just a matter of if you're having that many parties and getting in front of enough people, that's naturally just kind of what should happen. Sometimes at least for myself, I've been guilty of it, not thinking about it at all. And I just kind of skip it and don't do it. Well, if you don't ask, it's already a no. So just being consistent and offering it even, and that just takes practice, right? It's uncomfortable maybe at first to ask for parties. It's uncomfortable asking about the business, asking them if they want more information about the business. But by doing so and just getting consistent and going, that's my job, just like the waitress, right, at a restaurant, ask, do you want dessert? It's just their job. I think many times I tell them no, right? I don't want to spend the extra money. I'm too Dutch or whatever. Every once in a while, I treat myself. And that can be the same with Pampered Chef. It's something they want to treat themselves with, right? Maybe it's just that, and obviously many other reasons. Someone has also told me too, it's selfish not to offer. Think about what it's done for you, maybe in your business. I know, think about what it's done for me in my business. No, I probably wasn't like, I'm going to start this awesome business and make a ton of money, or anything like that. But that's kind of how it's turned out for me or other people too. So I think of other people that are even higher up, at the top levels, they started with the exact same kit I did, or similar, I should say. But you know what I mean? The same price range and things like that. And they did a lot with it. So you never know. We don't have to buy a brick and mortar place and go way into the hole in order to start this business. So there's no high risk. So again, just thinking every 4 parties you have to add one more, and that could be spaced out. So if you're doing 4 parties a month, working towards adding one more person. Maybe if you do 2 parties each month, you'll add one person every other month. If you're doing 8 parties in a month, that means 2 people, and so on. So as we just again talk about goals and goal setting, I'm not specifically one of those people that sets a New Year's resolution. I set yearly goals. I might set monthly goals. But I am one that sets new goals all the time. So I might have a year goal, but I also have a month goal, and I might have a 3-month goal as well, right? So you want kind of a 30-day plan, you want maybe a 90-day plan, maybe 6-month plan, and a year plan, a 5-year plan, right? So you got to break it down. So you might have a year plan, but then you got to break it down. I think one of the biggest things for me, I was talking to someone from the home office here a couple weeks ago, right before Christmas, and one of the things I noticed about myself and my business is this past year, I didn't have a very strong why. I stayed steady in my business, and that was great, but I didn't grow. And that's okay. But main reason I think is because of my why. Does anybody, you guys can definitely share, I'll share mine here too in a bit, but anybody have or know what your why is, or even what that means? Do you know what that means to have a why? It's okay if you don't. I think when it comes to having your why, let me give you an example. So a couple years ago, I was doing one party a month, and I was okay with that. But then all of a sudden, I got a why. So we were pregnant at the time with our twins, and we were looking at daycare, and I'm going, oh my gosh, daycare is expensive. How on earth are we going to be able to pay for this? I can't quit my job. That doesn't make sense. And so we found a daycare that was actually almost half the cost of a normal daycare. They were going to take both the twins for the cost of what one kid would cost somewhere else, pretty much. So I'm like, oh my gosh, praise the Lord. What a blessing. However, the next day, we actually found out we had lost them. And from there, I said, oh my gosh, we need to get rid of this debt. Because I thought, if I get pregnant again, first of all, the cost of one kid is insane. The cost of two kids even more insane. And if I have a tendency to get pregnant with multiples, this is not going to work. So with one party each month that fall, 0 parties for December, I begged my mother-in-law to do a party for me. And from there, in January, I got 8 parties. And I decided I'm getting out of debt. And together with my husband. So that was my big why. That's what pushed me to grow my business, to have extra parties, to pay off debt. I had a goal. I had to get rid of the scrap. Yes, we didn't just use Pampered Chef to do that. We sold things. Brett got an extra job. We had a big why. Yes, we paid off most of our debt, $78,000 in 23 months, mainly due to Pampered Chef, 2 days before Anders was born. So I had a big why. Of course, once that was paid off and I had Anders, I wasn't really sure what I was searching for. So if you guys have a pen, paper, if you have your notes on your computer, I just encourage you as I talk here for the next little bit to just write. So this is how I got to my why for this year, at least. So I just kind of wrote down things like, okay, sure, the trip would be great. I'd like the trip. But I knew it wasn't going to push me enough to keep going or grow or to stretch myself. So then I'm like, okay, what else do I want? And even just put that question down, what else do I want? Because after you answer each thing, what else do I want? So then it's a matter of, okay, well, what else do I want, right? So, new car would be great. Okay, what else do you want? Oh, well, I'd like to finish off my emergency fund. Okay, what else do you want? Oh, well, I'd like to travel and choose where I want to travel even. Okay, well, what else do you want? Well, I want to start saving for Anders for college. Okay, what else do you want? Well, I want to invest. What else do you want? And I kept going. And one of the things I've always wanted to do is eventually adopt. I just have always wanted to do that. I don't know, that's not in the plans for me right now, but that's something I want to do. Okay, well, what would prevent me from doing some of those things? Okay, well, I want to get all those other things done. You know, I want my emergency fund. I want this. And so I laid out a plan. I took a spreadsheet and I laid it out then of all those things that I said I wanted. And they're crazy because I'm like, this is crazy. But I wrote it down, and just writing it down and seeing and going, oh my gosh, if I work a little bit harder and make this much instead, have this many shows instead, I can achieve those goals. So you gotta, and it just really helped me because I got a lot of excitement when I was like, oh my gosh, and I was showing someone else like, look at all these things we're gonna do. It's gonna be so great. And when you get that excitement, you know you found your why. But if you don't have that excitement or you don't have that drive, it's gonna be hard through the tough times to keep going. It's gonna be like, I don't wanna do that. Okay, but if you don't do that, you're not gonna achieve your goal or your reason, your why. You're not going to help for some people, it's not about finances or things like that. It's about helping somebody else. Well, you're not going to help somebody else. Maybe you want to help 10 people this year, but you're not going to help them if you don't have enough parties or get in front of people or whatever. You're not going to help people find better kitchen solutions, better recipes. Maybe you want to help inspire other people with their health decisions even. You got to figure out what that is for you. So you got to figure out your why. So then on here as well is what's your incentive trip goal? Anybody want to go on a cruise this next year? Put your hands in the air like you just don't care. Okay, Ruby does not. Okay, funny story, Ruby. My husband, we talked about it. He's like, I don't know. So I told my mom, I said, hey, by the way, Brett's not sure if he wants to go on this trip. She goes, take me. He's scared of cruise ships. It scares him. So we'll see who I end up taking. But, you have to decide, yeah, maybe you don't want the trip. That's okay. But some people, I know we have like Joni Kruger on our team. Or on Janelle's team, she has not gone on a Pampered Chef trip, but she's gone on a trip because of Pampered Chef. She was able to take her kiddos to like 9 national parks, and they road tripped it, and they used the income she got from Pampered Chef to go on a trip. So maybe you just want to see your grandbabies more, or whatever. But what's your goal? What's your goal for how many parties you want, how many people you want to add? Every 4, add 1. Okay. Now on Dash, they have this sheet here on the right. You're seeing the SMART goals and your 90-day growth plan. So you can write your why, but then you can break it down. Okay, what's your goal for the next 30 days? What's your goal for the next 60 days? What's your goal for the next 90 days? How many 4-in-1 cycles do you want? What do you want your career level goal to be? Maybe you just want to move up to senior consultant. Maybe you just want to go to team leader. Maybe you want to go all the way to executive director. I mean, there's no limit. And if you're like me, I'm stretching myself. I'm going for executive director. Okay, that scares the pants off of me, but I'm doing it to stretch myself. Okay, if I fail, you're gonna watch me fail. Okay, but that's okay. But if I succeed, we're gonna celebrate together. Like, it's just what it is. You're gonna just witness all of it. So, and that's okay. It's kind of scary to put yourself out there, but again, if you don't, I don't know, you're gonna think I'm awesome bomb all the time instead of seeing me fail. Not. Okay, so when it comes to actually then looking at your goal, so maybe you have a goal, a certain income goal, a trip goal, whatever it is, pay off that debt. So when do you want to pay that debt off by? Again, having that income goal to break it down into parties. So this I'm going to use as the trip goal. I actually did this with someone else, and they wanted level 2. Okay, so we talked about it. She felt comfortable doing 6 parties a month. Now I say in there, you'll see that says aim for 8 parties because you might have cancellations, right? Or a reschedule or something like that. So I'm like, aim for 8 parties. That's only 2 parties a week. Or you could go 4 parties, skip a week, 4 parties, skip a week. I mean, you could run your business how you want to. So that's only 2 parties a week. And her party average was 650. So you could change that again to go, okay, maybe your party average is only 500. That's where I'm at right now, and that's okay. Last year I was at 600, just kind of varied a little bit. And obviously something I can look at to work on too. So it's good to know that. But then, just kind of figuring out, okay, so, for her, she did 6 parties a month at $650. She's going to have $3,900 in sales. Well, if she does that every month times 12 months, she's going to have 46,800 points, right? In just dollars. If she does 1 recruit a month, okay, and I put 10 recruits there specifically because 2 of those recruits maybe don't qualify. They didn't hit the 1,250 in sales. That's when you get the points. And it's 3,000 points per person. So I took 3,000 points times 10 recruits. So she's got another 30,000 points. If you didn't see, now there are points once you become a team leader. So once you're a team leader, which means you have 2 people under you, collectively the 3 of you has $2,500 in sales, and I believe you yourself would have to have $750 in sales as well. They've got a few little requirements. You get points. You get 500 points. So I gave this person, we talked, and we gave her the grace of January and February. She's going to be a consultant and senior consultant. And then starting in March, April, and May, she'd be a team leader. She'd promote to director in June. When you promote, you get 5,000 points. And then now you get 1,000 points each month. So that's where the 7,000 points come into play, June through December. She's going to have 90,300 points, and she needs 90,000 to get that. Of course, you can change this. She could have more parties and do less recruiting, right? Less sharing the love. She could do more sharing the love and less parties. She could promote to team leader or director sooner and get more points, or keep going to advanced director or senior director and so on, because those points bump up. So many ways that you can do that. She could help someone else. Again, she could help someone else become a director. That's not included in here, but you get points for that too. Get up to 6,000 points when you add a director under you. Possibilities are endless, and people do it all the time. We see people walk the stage that become a director in 3 months. Even though maybe you started more than 3 months ago, you can do that. When I share, so remember how I said in that January, after I had 1 party each month, I had 8 parties. I promoted to director in April. That was only a short time after I said, okay, let's go. So you can do that as well. And in March is when I had 3 recruits on the last day of the month. It was our kit rebate, 50% kit rebate month. And so I had 3 people the last month. One of those people are still with us, and you know who that is, more than likely. You know Jessica Butler. So she's been around since then. But yeah, so she was one of mine who she almost, after she signed up, almost quit the next day as well. Because that's real feelings, right? I'm sure all of us had those feelings. So I just want to share that with you. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, so anybody have any goal that you guys just want to, that you're like, oh, this would be really nice, that you would want to achieve? Anybody want to shout out a goal, or even $500 a month? Maybe it's an income goal or whatever it is.
My goal is to have more money to play around camping.
I love it.
Yes.
So you
every month.
Yep. And so that's just deciding, okay, what do you want to do as far as camping? Do you want to go a whole week, 2 weeks? Do you want to buy an RV? Do you want to, or whatever? And then go, okay, in order to do those things, I would need to make $500 each month, or $1,000. Yeah. And then it's breaking it down, right? So the average a new consultant, granted, makes, they say, is about $120 basically per party. So you'd have to have about 8 to 9 parties to make $1,000.
I don't need that much.
Yeah. I'm just using that for a whole number, but maybe it's 700, right. So then it's 6 parties or 5 parties each month, maybe.
Yeah.
So just kind of varies, but just breaking that down. So
yeah. I got to get past the 2 parties a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to get past that.
And just stretch yourself to 4. Say, okay, let's see if I can do January, February, March. I'm going to do 4 parties each month, and then see what that looks like. Definitely. You can, that's your business. That's what I love about it, right? We can all do it.
Yes.
And we all have different goals. So there's no comparing people. Comparison steals your joy. So, I mean, you got to keep in mind, we're here to help each other, but we're all in this business, and we have all different reasons. So don't let that distract you. Anybody else? And I think for some people, it's just, again, practice and learning even sometimes, right? But doing something scared is a good thing. I'm going to show an analogy here after a little bit. And if you guys want to, like I said, I just shared with you someone that I had done a one-on-one. We did a one-on-one Zoom call. That was one of her goals. And we just sat together and broke it down. So if you want to do a one-on-one call, let's sit together and break it down. That's fine. You share with me what you got, and we'll figure it out together. So, okay, so I want to now go into how to get bookings at your party. I think sometimes it's really scary to ask people, but first of all, how many of you, since you're all virtual right now, but how many of you play or have a post or a question in your parties about bookings? Yeah. So, Nicola, raise your hand. Whoop, whoop. Good job. Yes, Ruby. No, Ruby. Maybe Ruby.
Work there. Darn thing didn't want to work.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I've got a cold and I feel horrible.
It's okay.
But I try to put one in almost every day about booking.
Yep.
And recruiting.
Yep. You're exactly right. So I think there's a few things you can do. Nicola and I were just talking about this the other day, but in your parties, you want to inform, but you also want to ask a question to engage them. So sometimes I just simply inform and just say, you can get this at 60% off. Or did you know you can get this, like the blender, you can get it for $139 instead of $350 this month. Or you can get it for $129 and join this business, okay, and inform me. But then I also have, like, with the booking, you could do, if money wasn't an issue, which item would you get at 60% off? Or which item would you get for free, especially with double free product month? I mean, once they hit $650 in sales, they're getting $230 for free. They can get the rock crop now for free. They can almost get the walk for free. I mean, they pay $10, and actually $10 would be discounted. So it costs them $750 to get that walk. I mean, they can get so much for free or discounted. So if money wasn't an issue, which Pampered Chef product would you get? Okay. People that comment, you go personally message now. You go, hey, I saw you commented on this. If you have your eye on that walk, I'd love to help you get it at 60% off, since it is a 60% off item this month. Or you can say, I'd love to help you get it for $7.50, because that's how much it would cost them, because they're going to have a 25% discount on that extra $10. Or it's always 50% off, no matter what month it is, right? They're always going to get at least one 50% off item when they have a $200 party. So reach out to those people. So that's one way you can reach out to people. One of the things I also do, how many of you do full service checkout or know what that means? Whoop, whoop. Okay.
Can you do it on a virtual?
Yep. So when I do
didn't know that.
Yeah, with the full service checkout, I used to be really good when I didn't have as many parties. I called every single guest after the party was done, or the last day of the party. I said, thank you for your order. You're welcome. And I'd wait for them to answer, and I'll ask them, did you find everything okay? Yep, I did. And I do this all now via text. So I still do it, but I do it via text message, because I have their phone number from their order. And then I ask them, now, sometimes I'll tell them, like, if they're at $75 and the guest special's at $80, I'll say, P.S., you're only $5 away from getting the flexible cutting mats for free. Did you want anything else? And then you're quiet. Don't suggest a thing, because I've had people buy $50, $60, $70, $100 more worth of products by not saying anything. It's amazing how much the extra sales I get. So I'll even say the host is only $35 away from the next level, $55, $60, $80, whatever they are. Is there anything else you want? A lot of times people say no. Sometimes they'll help the host. You just never know. But then the next question I go into, if they say yes, I'll be like, sounds great. So-and-so will really appreciate it. Or I'll say no problem if they say no, and then say, now, have you ever thought about doing something like this and earning extra income? Phrase that question however you feel comfortable. You might not like those words, and that's okay. You might ask, like, hey, you were so much fun during the party. You'd be so great at this. Have you ever thought about doing Pampered Chef? Have you ever thought about being a consultant? However you want to phrase that. Again, they might say no. They might say, yeah, no, I haven't. They might say no. And you might ask then, would you like to learn more? Or they might say, no way, Jose. You can sometimes, it's kind of hard through text, but sometimes you can see if it's like, oh my gosh, why are you asking me? And you're going to move on. But there's also times where they might say, no, I'm just so busy, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to give you this huge long excuse. Usually an excuse is they're thinking about it, but they're like, maybe, but I can't because this is in my way. So I'm going to say no, even though I'm thinking about it. You just don't know. So sometimes if you're not sure what to respond, you can always send me a screenshot too. But, I'm going to ask them about the business. Okay. We can talk about overcoming objections later. But then obviously the next part would go, not a problem, or sounds great. Let's get your launch party going if they say yes. But otherwise, would you like to have your own party, get some products for free, and help Susie Q out as well? Right? Because she's going to get a past host discount. She's going to get another 50% off item at their party. So that's how I get a lot of my bookings, actually, by just doing that full service checkout, by just simply asking them, hey, I followed up with you on your order. Thank you. Do you want to have a party? And if they're like, yeah, that sounds great. Awesome. I have January 17th available. Does that work for you? Offer them just one day. You can offer them two. If you're like, I don't really care which date she chooses, but I need to fill right now January 17th date. I don't want any more January 10 parties that start this Friday. That's full for me, but I need more January 17th. So I'm going to offer it. they will tell me, oh no, I was thinking more like this spring. Oh, not a problem. Well, I have March 4th or March 11th open, which works best for you. So I might then offer 2. They'll tell you if that's not a good time or not, but offer your closest date. And then of course I just leave them with a, we have the 30-day money back guarantee, and your items will ship within 10 to 14 days. I used to say 7 to 10, but we are growing as a business, and especially during the holiday season. Now that we're past that, it might slow down a little bit, but they were just overkill at home office and couldn't barely keep up. So I switched it to a little bit longer. I'd rather say 10 to 14 days, and it comes in 7. So I'd rather be wrong that way than the other way. So that's what I do. Does that make sense, or any questions about how that works? Okay. So that's mainly what I do. That really helped me a couple of years ago. That's what I started really doing that, and that helped me really grow my business. Pampered Chef says their thing is to get 2 bookings from every party. I know some people won't even close the party until they get 2 bookings. Now, if they only have 2 people order, you're probably not going to get 2 bookings, but they will then reach out to other people outside the party to get a booking. So they will really try hard, like, nope, if I only got 1 booking from that party or 0, I'm going to go outside now and ask other random people for bookings until I get 2. So that's how, partially because that's how you grow your business, but also cancellations can happen. Okay, so then just having a great virtual show, we talked about having those booking and recruiting things in there, but then also like a cooking party, you have a recipe, you have a big power tool, and then supporting tools. So that's what I do. And I usually do that. Maybe I have a theme for the day, soup theme. So I might feature a soup in the morning and a soup in the afternoon. And then I feature the power tool of a blender, maybe the rack crock in the afternoon, blender in the morning, and then the tools that go with the recipe. So I look at the recipe to see which items are in it, and then I feature those right afterwards in the recipe. So I think the biggest thing with a great virtual party, though, is interaction, right? How many of you do a roll call, have your host do a roll call post? Yeah. And do you respond to the people on that post? So there is a way, there's an arrow, and you can put get notifications for this post because you won't get them since it's not your post. So I do that, so I get those notifications. And then now when they respond, when Susie Q responds on Sally Mae's party post, then I can welcome her and say, and I can ask those additional questions. Like if they didn't say if they're a Pampered Chef fan or not, I'll be like, oh my gosh, are you new to Pampered Chef or no? Or what are you looking forward to in the party? If they don't answer the questions, I will then re-ask the questions. If they didn't read the top post, because people are too busy, I don't know, they don't take the time to read everything. They just like half answer things. So then I just ask additional questions. And that's the same too with that full service checkout. If someone doesn't respond to me that right away or whatever, I might go back to them again and say, hey, just wanted to check in to see if you did want to host a party. Hey, just wanted to check in to see if you got my text message. I follow up with all of those people if we did not finish the conversation all the way to the end. But I only ask them one thing at a time. So I think that's the other thing, having interactive posts. So once you talk about a product, maybe, like I might talk about our pressure cooker, our quick cooker, and then I might ask people, okay, what's your guys' favorite pressure cooker recipes? They might not have our quick cooker, but they might have an Instapot. They might have a Ninja pressure cooker. Okay, there's lots of other things they can have. They probably have some favorite recipes. Why not hear from them? Right? What's their favorite kitchen? So just getting interaction of any kind. Same with like even the recruiting post. So when you're interactive, they love it. So with the recruiting post, sometimes I will, and no one's asking questions, but there's been participation at the party. I might tag those people and just simply say, hey, I dare you guys, I don't know if you're competitive or not, but I dare you to ask me 1 or 2 or even 3 questions and get some points. And then those are people to reach out to now about the business, to then even say, hey, I don't know if you were just playing to have fun or if you were actually curious, but do you have any questions? And again, you personally message them. And the same with like at the paycheck game, if you've heard of the paycheck game or any of those, you want to personally message to build that relationship. And then I also, anybody that interacts, I add them as a friend as well. And I, again, just feel like that helps build a relationship. Now they can get to know me on Facebook a little bit too. they can get to know me personally a little bit more. And I've had people, when I've done those full service checkouts, be like, oh my gosh, you were so much fun. You were very interactive. So I think just being present in your own party besides just doing your post is really helpful for that. Anybody have any questions about that or challenges you currently have? Or I kind of feel like I spewed on you a little bit. It went kind of fast, but
how do you get them to interact when you can't get anybody to interact? I mean, regardless what you try, nobody comments, nothing. I had the last party, I had 2 people commenting and that was it.
Yeah, so those 2 are your party rock stars.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I will literally, that's another thing I do as far as getting bookings. I might personally message them and say, oh my gosh, you are a party rock star. You'd be so much fun. You should have your own party, something along those lines. But getting your host involved is super helpful. So sometimes I'll say, hey host, I'd love to see some more interaction in your party so we can have some more fun. Do you mind tagging about 10 people today on some of your posts? So having them tag their own friends helps. You could tag them as well. They might not see it as well, but they're gonna know who might interact a little bit more. Or you can at least tag the 2 people that have been interacting if there's a post you want them to respond to. And part of it starts with the host coaching and making sure you get enough people at that party. You know, if you only have 10 members in that group, you're not going to get a lot of interaction because 2 of them are you and the host. So you really only have 8 people at the party. So if you get that 30 to 50, you should be seeing more. Every party's different. You're going to have some flakes in there. You just got to let them go. But those are just some common tips that I typically use or do. It starts with the host coaching, but yeah, tricky. It's hard when you have over 30 people in there and there's not a lot of commenting. You're like, okay, well, what's going on? Where's everyone? Sometimes it's their friends. I've had some parties that like are rock stars. Sometimes they're not, and they did the exact same thing, but it's just a matter of group of people. It's chance. Okay, so I do want to. Oh, goodness gracious. I want to share my screen one more time here. Okay, so I think this quote, I've shared this before with some people, but I just really like this analogy because this is what happens inside of our head, right? Sometimes the things holding us back is all in our head. Clearly this horse could go somewhere. That chair's not holding them down at all. But its brain is getting in its own way. And we do that to ourselves all the time. We feel like we can't achieve a big, scary, hairy goal because maybe we're not good enough, right? We believe these lies and these silly things all the time, and they're just not true. So I think it's always good. We do have trainings that are starting on Wednesday, one for those wanting to promote in their business, career title, maybe up to team leader, directors. But we also have another training if you just want to grow your mind in a way, they're both going to grow your mind. But those trainings have been so helpful for me to just help overcome just stupid fear and anxiety in my head and lies that I tell myself to go, no, I'm stinking awesome. Like, I am great at what I do. And if I'm not great at what I do, I'm going to practice till I get great. Just like a little kid that falls when they walk, as they learn, I'm going to fall a few times, but I'm going to keep getting back up, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to be running soon. Okay, we're in the journey of learning. We're in the journey of something beautiful. Doesn't mean it's pretty during the journey. So I just love this quote. I love this analogy of like, we just get in our own way. Okay. So just want to leave you guys with that, but any last thoughts or questions? You guys are just such a great little group. Well, perfect. So if you guys do, like I said, if you guys want to do a one-on-one call, I am more than open to doing that. We'll just schedule a time. We can do, even if you just have questions on something you want to specifically improve, or maybe you want to do goal setting, whatever it is, just let me know. I'm available to do that. We'll schedule a time. That's just fine. And if you want to get in on either of those trainings that are starting here on Wednesday, let me know as well, and I'll get you added to those groups. So trainings are either at, the one is going to be at 6:30 Wednesday morning. We might switch it to 7, but this first one's going to be a little bit longer, so we did 6:30, and the other one's 8:30 p.m. So on Wednesdays, and you can do both too if you really want. So, all right, well, I'll let you guys go and go out there and crush it. Crush that plastic chair. Get rid of it. All right. See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.